Today, whilst we are here to celebrate news brands, we're actually not going to shy away from asking you to think differently, from challenging you a bit and actually inspiring you. Not all digital is bad. Not all digital has issues around safety and transparency, fake news and dodgy metrics. But in our planning and targeting, by prioritising when and forgetting about where, it's becoming increasingly hard for everyone to unravel what is good and what's from bad.
The potential for news brands is to ensure that we are advertising in the right context for brands. So that's increasingly important for the brands that we work with. It's something that they didn't have to think about as much in the past when there were only kind of 3, 4, 5 channels. But now with the sort of proliferation of digital channels, it's becoming increasingly important.
The digital halo has slipped slightly over the past year. This is an opportunity for other media to highlight their worth. It's become clear not all digital is equal.
My key takeout from Catherine's session today was that actually the short term is the new long term. Despite the evidence that shows that actually short-term behaviours driven by short-term investors do actually damage business, those are the realities that we've got to live with. So we have got to make the case that short-term investment in brand building also pays out as well as long-term.
If we only capture short-term sales, then invariably people get influenced by that. There's a wonderful idea from economics called the Cobra effect. And the idea essentially is once you set a metric, it has perverse consequences. Our Cobra effect is we are setting really short-term targets, and then, well, of course, the intelligence of everyone involved tries to hit those targets, and they game the system, and they deliver against the metric, but not the underlying need.
My favourite session this morning so far was Richard Shotton's one. I think it really inspired me. He brought it to life in a really easy way. He had some cracking examples, which I just loved. I'm actually doing a project on creative testing at the moment for one of our clients. It's really given me some food for thought, which I'm going to take back to the agency this afternoon.
So we're using this project to prove that where you advertise makes a big difference to consumer response. One of my big bugbears is that people treat digital as this amorphous mass. There is lots of great content, there's lots of bad content. So let's see if we can use this project to separate some of the good from the bad.
If we talk about being audience first, I think being truly audience first is being respectful of their mindset and the context within which we're trying to engage them. And I think this idea of respect is probably something that we've kind of lost quite a lot, and I think it needs to come back into kind of the forefront in terms of planning.
In travel, a lot of money was diverted into digital, and almost too much. And I would actually say in the last 9 to 12 months, there's been more of a pullback to consider multi-channels. Recently, we've had phenomenal success in print ads and putting supplements into newspapers as well.
But we definitely see a rebalancing, and where we might have been apologetic almost to put print or TV on the plan, now there seems to be a much more confidence. There's a reason why that is there.
For me, it was really important to remind people and to shine a light really on the value that news brands can give to the marketing mix and to brands that want to reach audiences in certain types of environments, certain types of context, particularly a more premium context.
I've really enjoyed my first shift, and what I loved about it was the range of voices speaking up for news brands, from the young to the old, from Snapchat to political satire.
I think the one that was the most memorable was the Dave Burst session, which I really enjoyed and was a subject very much after my own heart. It concerns me greatly today that because of the speed of change with technology and how technology is developing, it's really about how this impacts our creativity, and he made that point so well.
I'm quite concerned about some of the stuff that technology does, because what we're doing is we're just embracing the yin and yang of technology. We're just taking it wholesale at the moment. And I think that we should be looking at technology and going, what's the benefits, what are the drawbacks? Let's mitigate the drawbacks and boost the benefits.
I love the idea of your work having some impact, and occasionally getting to break some exclusives, sometimes expose some wrongdoing, and over the years when that's happened, it is very satisfying. I think there's an element of sort of prestige and trust there as well, which you can get on some of the newer platforms, but it's rarer.
There will always be that demand there for an established news brand to be giving you the facts, we've talked about context a little bit, you know, to be able to give you the morning after an incident or an election or whatever it may be, to give you that full context, the full picture of what's happening.
We're able to fill these gaps, and because of the relationship that we have with our readers, we can tailor it to them. Like, what is it that you want to know? And they come to us and they trust us. And exactly like you guys were saying, it's about having that trusted brand.
There's a view that digital is fighting against print, but actually it's enhancing it.
I was really excited to have the opportunity to chair the discussion today about next generation of journalism. As an agency, we don't always get to see what goes on behind the scenes, so it's really exciting to be able to hear from the content creators themselves.
For a sketch writer, I mean, it's been pure gold, really, Brexit. It's a tragedy for the country in my view, but in terms of material, it's been wonderful. The pleasure of the sketch writer is that you can get to the kind of subtext, if you like.
Context, trusted, premium environments. You know, that's what news brands and newspapers are about. And I think obviously, just talk about John, it's the reason why we must buy newspapers. You know, it's the reason why we spend that money, because obviously we want to have opinion that is obviously trusted, that is knowledgeable, factual.
Shift for us today was about challenging preconceptions about news brands. It was about challenging our audience to think differently, and also about embracing news brands as the brands of the future that they are, to embrace all of their platforms and not just think of their platforms separately. So our cast of speakers that we had, I think today did a brilliant job of that. Reminded us why the quality content and context of news brand journalism is such a great platform for advertisers.